Hi, my name is Kelsey, and today I will be talking about understanding the past. And what I mean by that is not just our own history as a culture and as a world, but also our own personal histories. George Santana says that those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. I'll say that again because it's important. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And the reason I say this is because in 2012, I was faced with a turning point in my life where I kept making the same mistakes over and over again, expecting a different result, and I couldn't understand why I was making the same mistakes. It was because I didn't truly understand myself, nor did I understand what exactly was going on to cause the same mistakes over and over and over again. Now you might be asking, well, what happened? What was it? And for me, it was a drug problem, and I have a psychological disease, but that might bring you to the question of who cares? I don't have that. But I think it's safe to say that for anybody and everybody, we all want to live a purposeful life. We all want to be happy. And to some extent, like, we all want to bring in other people to that happiness. But for me, and I think I can speak for everyone else, it's really hard to do that if you don't understand the problem and you don't understand what's going on. I look at politics and I look at school systems, and I look at any kind of system, and there seems to be this same kind of insanity that was in my life and that it seems to be in the world of we're doing the same thing over and over and over again and nothing's changing. And then we beat ourselves and we beat our head against the wall saying, well, why is it the same? Why isn't anything changed? And I think it's because we are afraid to acknowledge what exactly the problem is. So for me, the problem is that we don't quite see fully the truth about ourselves and the truth about who we are as human beings. And so I think it's important for us to study that and for us to look at that. There's a couple reasons why, and in the visual I have prepared, the slides are going to follow along with what I have. So first of all, we have recognizing patterns. Then we create a rule system, incorporating synergy and acknowledging what really matters to create and seek better solutions. So the first one I want to talk about is recognizing patterns. For me, I kind of came to this place on my own in terms of recognizing patterns with myself of the insanity of what I was doing. I would set out and I'd be like, I'm going to conquer the world today and prove to the world that I'm important. But over and over and over again, I would find myself miserable. I would find myself beating my head against the wall saying, why did I do this? Why did I do this? Why did I do this? And it wasn't until I acknowledged that there was a pattern there where I really came to understand, okay, maybe I need to look at what causes that problem and what leads me to do that. The next thing I want to talk about is, like, once I understand what I can recognize with my problems, then I can create a rule system and commit to succeeding in life. So for me, I had to create a system of the do's and don'ts. There was a lot of emotional baggage that I had. So the do's were deal with that, obviously. And the don'ts were look at it in a way that was untrue. The next thing that I want to talk about is synergy and serenity. For me, I think it's really important to study history, not only to understand myself and have peace with myself, but because I get really frustrated when I'm talking to somebody and I don't really understand them. And I found that the more I understand myself and the more I understand what's going on in my head, the more I can connect to that root that we are all the same, and that no matter what the situation is, at the root of it all, we're all human beings and we all stem from the same emotions. So for me, understanding my history and understanding my past and what makes me tick and what my triggers are, I can look at you and say, oh wow, even though your situation's different, I can have empathy for you, and I can understand this, and we can come to a common ground of understanding and communicate through to, which the last side is solve problems. Discovering the truth is also important for me too, in terms of really being willing to acknowledge what I find. I know in my history class, it was really hard to identify with all of the things from the past, like the Industrial Revolution and, the Civil War. I was like, I can't even imagine, like, living in a little hut. That was weird to me. But after I understood myself, I could understand, okay, if I were in that position and bringing in that synergy and that serenity from myself, I could find that it was easier to relate to these people whose situations were of a different time. And I could see that, okay, well, they were angry about this, Would I have been angry about the same thing? And how does that relate to my life today? And do I want the same revolution to happen in our country, or am I willing to seek a different solution than what they did? And that brings us to our last slide of solving problems. I think we have a lot of problems in the world, as you can probably identify with, and I'm aware of my own inadequacies that I'm not going to set out and solve all of the problems. But I do know that when I take it each step at a time, by recognizing my own patterns, by creating a rule system that I live by, committing, sometimes getting off course, but then recommitting, creating a synergy with my friends and peers, discovering the truth and being fearless and facing that, I can solve those problems one thing at a time. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and Gandhi changed the world, but it took these steps of truly understanding what was going on. So, on the last side it says go get them, because this is where it becomes important, of asking yourself, okay, what changes do I want to see in myself, and what changes do I want to see in the world? There's bystanders, and those are the people that just watch things happen, and then there's doers. And I hit a point in my life where I wanted to do something, no matter how small. I wanted to do it, and it was because the sole purpose, the sole calling, is that I don't know what my purpose on earth would be if it weren't to help other people and it weren't to, create that synergy with them. So yes, we can, and it all stems from being able to kind of look back at who we are, and acknowledging what we can do with who we are. So thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.